that I knew Greg Schwartz was speaking before me because I have a lot of Zillow jokes. And it's going to be pretty awkward bumping into the green room. So today we're going to be talking about listing strategies. How do we help you execute strategies, tactics, ideas to get more listings? But before we dive into any of that, we have to look at the market. And so if you go back to August of 2007, the beginning of the global financial crisis, we saw that in that year prior, we sold 6.52 million houses. Within 12 months, that number dropped to 5 million, about a 23% decline. Within another 12 months, that number dropped to 4.12 million, about a 37% decline in existing home sales. Now here's where it gets interesting. If you look at the number of people who sold real estate at that time, we had about 1.369 million realtors. Now within the same time frame, the number of people who sell real estate dropped by about 12%. Now to put that into perspective for you, what you're seeing here is the number of existing home sales was actually dropping 3 times faster than the number of people who sell houses. Now, many of you in the room right now are probably thinking, we are on the brink of a mass exodus in real estate. We're going to expect to see a whole bunch of people leave this industry. Unfortunately, if you look at the past to dictate the future, what you'll see is it actually took 60 months for us to go from peak realtor during the global financial crisis to the bottom of the market. Now, within that time frame, every year after that, we started adding about 50,000 agents to this industry. That was until we hit what my friend Steve Harney says is the unicorn years. And within 12 months, we added 122,000 realtors. That translates into 1 realtor every 4 minutes. Thanks, Tim Macy. Now, this would actually not have been a problem if existing home sales continued to rise. And for many people, that's exactly what we predicted. If you look at the predictions going into 2022, what you saw was that the vast majority of people were saying it was going to be just like 2021. We were expecting to see home sales average out around 6 million. We were expecting to see interest rates maybe get to the mid-4s. We were expecting there to be a situation where homes would appreciate about 5 or 6%. So we came out the gates on fire, thinking that 2022 was going to be just like 2021. And then what happened? This dude happened. Okay. 7 interest rate hikes in 12 months. So yeah, we may have started the year feeling like it was going to be a repeat of 2021, but we ended the year like this. My guy Byron Lazine interviewed Nick Bailey recently, CEO of Remax, and he had a great line. He said, agents are going from being burnt out to broke. And I think that really encapsulates the feeling that we're having right now in this market. We're coming on the back of this incredible bull run, and many of us are really not prepared to adjust to this market. So we're going to be sharing with you the tactics and the strategies and the ideas to help you adjust to this market. Now, you heard me earlier talk about how in the global financial crisis, we had all these changes in the market, the number of agents dropping, the number of houses dropping, and the reality is that this market in 2023 is nothing like the global financial crisis. You with me on this? All right? People have equity in their home, 274,000, if I can read that slide. Foreclosures, are foreclosures spiking in your market right now? And if you read the headlines, they'll say foreclosures are on the rise. But when you look at the data, I think we had 1.6 million foreclosures back in 07. We got like 160,000 right now. So yeah, it's on the rise, but it's 1/10 of what it used to be. So this market is nothing like the global financial crisis in any way, shape, or form, except in one very specific way that nobody's talking about. In the last 24 months, we have seen existing home sales rapidly decline, about 30%. Now here's where I got some bad news for you. Unlike the global financial crisis, where we saw the number of agents decrease, since July of 2021, we've actually seen the number increase from 1.534 million to 1.566 million. So whereas our home sales are declining, the number of people in real estate is actually pretty resilient right now. And the global financial crisis tells us anything, it's going to be a couple years before we see a culling of the herd in this industry. Which is why I believe the two things they have in common is we are in a market where it's hyper competitive. Right? And which is why I call it the real estate Hunger Games. So I have a question for you to start things off today. I want you to turn to your buddy right now, whoever's to your left or your right, and I want you to ask him a very simple question. How was your Q1?
How was your Q1?
I don't remember.
I'm hearing a lot of groaning.
Wasn't good.
Could always be better.
And if they said it was great, switch chairs. Q1 of this year, come back to me. I have an opportunity to work with 550 of the top teams in the country. And the call that I got all the time was, Jimmy, I have literally never had a worse quarter in my entire career. I think in 2023, we got caught flat-footed, actually. We got caught flat-footed in 2023. We weren't prepared for the rapid shift in the market. And so we were still operating off of last year's playbook, where our marketing calendar looked a lot like this, right? I'm not seeing a lot of agents dancing on TikTok anymore. All right. Thank God. This is what our marketing strategy should look like in 2023. I mean, it's time to put in the work. You with me on this? Right? It's time to put in the work. Now, I've had the opportunity to tour the country over the last 12 months with Tom and the team, and they've been so gracious to allow me to connect with the ecosystem here and meet some just amazing agents, amazing coaches in this industry. And what I've done over the last 12 months, and all the cities I've been to, and all the countries I've been to, is I've tried to understand at a deep level, what are the best agents, the agents who are thriving in this market, doing differently to stand out? What are the best agents in this industry doing to attract their next listing? And what I'm going to distill down for you over the next hour or so is the strategy that you can implement when you get back home to get more conversations, to book more appointments, and to get more listings. Now, there are 4 key parts here. The first is you have to have the right strategy. I mean, this is one of the most essential pieces of this entire session today, is having the right strategy. Number 2 is you've got to have the right tactics. Meaning every day when you wake up, you got to know what you're doing to have more conversations and book more appointments. Number 3, and this one, if I'm being honest with you, this might be the hardest one of all 3, is you got to have the right mindset. And I think there are people in this industry right now who are getting brought down by all the negativity in their office, all the negativity online, all the press clippings they're reading. I mean, this market's going to be too hard. It's going to be too expensive. It's going to take too long for you to grow your business if you're surrounding yourself with people who have the wrong mindset. And the last thing you need is you need accountability. You have got to surround yourself with people who lift you up. Now, I had an opportunity to meet with about 250 of the coaches on Monday this past week. Give it up for the coaches, please, by the way. I mean, they got to deal with you guys every day. That's a tough job. And I think having a coach in this market, and having peers in this market, and having people around you help lift you up is an essential piece of this. So here's what I learned on the road. The first thing is strategy. What is the right strategy? In this market, you have got to be fanatical, obsessed with one thing, which is getting your next listing. I mean, listing agents will thrive in this market. Here's why. Listings are, when you get listings, you pick up market share. And when you have market share, your business becomes more profitable. Number 2, when you get listings, it's near guaranteed income. I mean, very rarely does a listing expire, very rarely does a listing come off the market. You have a higher likelihood of closing that deal when it's a listing versus a buyer. You work with a buyer, interest rates go up, all of a sudden they're back on the sidelines. Once someone decides to list their property, you got momentum in the deal. Number 3, the speed and velocity. Are listings still closing quickly in your market? Right. Are they closing faster than some of your buy-side transactions? So if you're constrained by time, you with me on this? Like, if you're constrained by time, then you have to focus on things that move quickly through the pipeline. And then finally, and I'll break this down for you a bit later today, listings have the ability to compound. If you get listings, you can turn that into more listings. And if you get more listings, you can turn that into more listings. You can keep that machine going. Now, I've had an opportunity to interview probably 1,000 agents this year. What is the number one source of listings right now? Not a trick question. I heard it, Sphere, your SOI. And so what we're going to start today is we're going to break down a few SOI strategies to help you connect with more customers, build more relationships, book more appointments. So let's start with some data. Now, we're all probably familiar with this data. 89% of consumers say that they would use their agent again, but only 12% actually do. Who here has heard that stat before? I'm going to share with you a stat that no one's shared with you. And it's a stat that is going to change the way you think about your business. So I had an opportunity to analyze the top 500 agents in one of the largest MLSs in the country. And of those top 500 agents, I actually pulled out the top 10% of them with one simple question. If they sell a house, what is the likelihood they will actually be the listing agent when that consumer sells? You following here, right? If they sell the house, what is the likelihood they're going to be a listing agent when that property sells? And the average agent in the market is around 10 to 12%. Where do you think top producers are? 20%, 30%? I wish they were 60. There you go, that's incredible. Top performers are 46%, in the top 1% of the market, are 46% of the time they capture the relist business. That's 4 times greater than the average agent. Now, when you start to look at the math, what you'll see here in the top column here is agent number 1 has a 58% relist rate. She generated $117 million in sales volume off of people listing with her. And look at the commission on that. What does it say? I can't read it from here. 2.4 million? 2.9. Okay. Now, before we start patting ourselves on the back, there's one other column that's missing. Any guesses? How much money they lost by not retaining their customers. If you look at agent number 3, again, a ridiculously impressive retention rate, 57%. He lost $3.1 million in commission by not retaining his customers. So your first homework assignment is this. I want you, for those of you who've been doing buy-side business for a long time, this is going to be a bit of a cathartic exercise. I want you to write this down. I want you to go through every single one of the buy-side transactions you had, and I want you to see how many of them have relisted with another agent. You guys with me? This is so important to understand where you benchmark against top agents. So we have to, from a strategy perspective and a tactic perspective, we have to put ourselves in a position where we are actively reaching out to our past clients in SOI. Is real estate national or is it local? And what is the best source of local real estate information? Not your question. Is it the MLS? Everyone should say me, right? I'm the best source of local real estate information. And so one of the things that's important is to recognize that you have all this institutional knowledge that's stuck here. And unless one of your people in your SOI reach out to you, it's unlikely that that information is going to add any value. And so the first tactic that I want to coach you on today is called the one-to-one market update. And so the one-to-one market update goes like this. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to export your database out of your CRM, and I want you to upload it into Google My Maps. And what this is going to do is going to give you a visual representation of all the business that you've done. It's going to plot it on a map so you can visually see it. You should print this thing out on a big poster in your office and put it behind your desk. I want you to obsess over the people within your SOI. Now, the next thing I want you to do, good agents do this, is that you're in your MLS every day studying the market. And there are certain events that happen that if you can leverage those events to start a conversation, you'll book more appointments. And the example of that would be when a new listing sells quickly. This is a marketable moment. When there's a massive price reduction on a property, this is a marketable moment. When there's a hot home, a home that's going to get multiple offers, going to sell very quickly, that's a marketable moment. When there's a notable sale, and then finally when a home expires. All of these events are what we call marketable moments that you can use to have a one-to-one market update with your clients. Here's the exact script that I want you to use. Hey Steve, I was in the MLS earlier today and I just saw that 123 Main Street in your neighborhood sold. Did you see the final sales price? So follow along here. You upload your database into Google My Maps. You're studying the market like a pro every single day. You see a notable sale near somebody in your network, and then you send this text message. They're going to reply, no, I missed it, what does it sell for? And then you're going to hit them with this. Here's the price. This is actually the first time a home like this has ever been listed. They built it back in '96. And then you're asking for permission to be helpful, right? Would it be helpful if I got some information about the sale of this home? They say yes, and then sure, great, I'll give you a call in 5 minutes to discuss. Once you start doing 3 to 5 of these per day, it starts to work like magic. You start to have more conversations with people in your database, you start to book more appointments, you start to get more listings. But if you keep the information stuck in your head, there's no value there unless someone asks you a question. All right, tip number 2 here for you. Me and my wife bought our house during the pandemic. So I'm a millennial. I'm gonna be 38 next month. I don't think it's clout worthy. But I appreciate it. Yeah, they actually call people like me geriatric millennials now. I don't know why. So we bought a house during the pandemic. The home, we got a great interest rate on the mortgage. The home now has appreciated a ton. We're locked in at 3%. Are we ever going to sell our house? Maybe, but probably not. And I bet you got a bunch of people in your database who are just like me, who are, unless we got like 5 more kids, which ain't gonna happen, we ain't moving out of that house. I'll keep it as a rental property. And so a lot of us look at people like me who have an interest rate of 3%, who have got the deal of the century, and say, there's no value in reaching out to these folks. And what I want to share with you is a tactic that you can use to engage the 3%ers. And so here's the script. Hey Steve, I thought you'd appreciate this update. Since you bought your house in 2016, its value has increased 145%. In fact, if you were to buy your home today, your mortgage payment would be $3,500 more per month. You made a really smart financial decision. If you have any plans to make any improvements, I've got a great list of contractors to recommend you to. What's the point of this text? We're trying to engage the consumer to remind them that they hired us to do something to help them in a really big way. You should write this down. Robert Cialdini has a book called Influence. His name's Robert Cialdini. You don't have to spell it. Robert Cialdini, Influence. He talks about the law of reciprocity. Giving people a reason to say thank you, they want to return that favor. And if you start engaging the people who have these 3% interest rates, now we can start to turn the corner and ask for referrals. Now, many people in this room struggle to ask for referrals. And if you don't have a plan to ask for a referral, you sound a bit like this.
Have you tried the lasagna? It's my favorite.
Yeah.
Did you catch a game last night? Is it still hot out there? Do you like hot fudge sundaes? All right.
So, without a script, right, this is what we sound like. Without practice, without repetition, without having a plan, This is what we sound like when we ask for referrals. So what I want you to do, this is the exact script that I want you to use. So you're sending the one-to-one market update, right? You're sending the 3% text. Now you're engaging with your database. Now at the end of every conversation, I want you to hit him with this script. Hey, one more thing. We've been talking to a lot of folks who've been really struggling in this market. Can you think of anyone in your network who hasn't been able to buy and sell that you think we can help? What we're doing is we're staying on the consultant side of the relationship, and we're not getting back into sales mode. Right? One more thing. You guys are picking up on some of that language, right? One more thing. Would it be helpful? Anyone here a fan of Phil Jones? Phil Jones, right? Great dude. I'm not sure if any of you know this, but I actually co-wrote a book with Phil Jones called Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents. Anyone read that book? You might not know that I was actually the co-author, because when you go to Amazon, do you see my name? It says Phil M. Jones, Chris Smith, and then one more. If Phil didn't insist on having his middle initial, I think they probably could have squeezed my name in. All right, let's keep building. CMAs. What? Yeah, you can tell I'm bitter about that. So the word real estate has been steadily declining in Google searches now for the past 10 years. In fact, and this is going to trigger some people in the room, the word Zillow is actually now searched more than the word real estate. I've got more bad news for you. When you search the word real estate, Google now is going to recommend Zillow as a tag above all of the search results. I think Zillow's been used in this industry for far too long. I think it's time we start using them. Right? And here's how we're going to do it. The first tactic, yeah, thanks for that. The first tactic is what I call the ZMA. So the ZMA is you log into Zillow.com, you pull up one of your clients' homes, okay, on Zillow. And you're pulling up to look at their Zestimate. What do you think consumers think about their Zestimate? Do you think they have an opinion about it? I want you to take a screenshot of this estimate, and then I want you to text your SOI this exact script. Hey Steve, I was on Zillow earlier today looking for a few properties in your neighborhood, and I thought I'd check out your home's estimate. They estimate your home's value is worth $1.89 million. I have my opinion, but I would love to hear your thoughts. Start doing 3 to 5 of these ZMAs every single day, and it's magic. You're having more conversations, you're booking more appointments. Let's keep building on this idea. My guy, Jason Cassidy, awesome dude, great client of mine, great friend. We helped him book an $800,000 listing appointment off of this one email. I call it the Godfather strategy. Subject line, an offer you can't refuse. If a buyer were to offer you more than 10% above your estimate, would you sell? And if their response is, yes, sure, absolutely, now we can turn the corner and have a conversation with that consumer. Let's keep building. What else can we use estimates for? When you list a property, what happens to the Zestimate? They got all these brilliant engineers and economists calculating and forecasting what the Zestimate is, but when you update the price, what happens? The Zestimate changes. And you don't get any credit for that. I was talking to Coach Eileen Rivera. She gave me this great strategy I want to share with you today, which is, she said, before she goes on a listing appointment, she brings a packet with her, which is she printed out, prior to home selling, she printed out this estimate, and then when she sold the property, she printed out the post-sale estimate. And so she walks into a listing presentation, she shows the consumer, here's what I can do for your home. They think their home is worth X, we're going to help you get Y, as an example. And so what you can do now, every time, this is an SOP that I want you and your team to implement. Every single time you have a listing appointment, I want you to print out this estimate. You with me on this? Print it out. Because now you have proof and record of what they're saying the home is actually worth. Then you can implement what we call the truth strategy. And so every time you sell that home for above this estimate, now you can use that campaign to circle, prospect, and get more appointments. Here's how it works. Your neighbor recently entrusted us with selling their home at 14556 West 3rd Ave. Zillow estimated their home value was $717,000. We sold it for $820,000. That's a $102,000 difference. This is a real case study one of our clients, Jacob Stark, used recently. Then you include the screenshot of the exact estimate, the before and the after. You with me on this? Right? The before and the after. You show the transition because you are going to get credit for the marketing, the pricing, the promotion, all the effort you put into it. You're going to get credit for that, as opposed to people just thinking that you're selling homes at this estimate. Then you hit them with this line. Anytime a home sells in your neighborhood, it can have a big impact on your home's value. However, you can't trust Zillow to get your home's value right. Would it be helpful, or would you like me to prepare a professional home value report for you? And then finally, you can add additional PS. Hey, here, scan this code, get some more information here. And then I love what Jacob did, and you guys should totally steal this. He said, PPS, we have 3 more listings coming very soon, all in Littleton. If you have any friends or family that you'd like to keep posted in the area, right, have them reach out to me directly. This is called the true strategy. So what I want you to begin to do is to kind of start getting into motion. Whether it's the one-to-one text, right? Whether it's the one-to-one market update, or the 3% text, or the ZMA, or the Godfather strategy, or the true strategy. We're trying to get into motion, start taking massive action. And when you start to get wins, what happens is your confidence begins to build. You go from feeling desperate and despair and feeling like, you can't, this market is tough, to all of a sudden getting the confidence where you start to feel like this. The only way you get there is through massive action. All right, let's keep building. I talk to agents every single day, and they tell me, Jimmy, my database of clients, I got my A's and my B's and my C's and my D's, or I've got my, my VIPs and then my not VIPs. Like, everyone's got their own version of classifying their SOI. Like, I think it's really simple. You tell me if I'm wrong. I think you got people that you would want to call, right? And the people that you don't. Like, that's how most of it is organized. You got people you want to call and people that you don't. So my buddy Ben Kinney taught me this idea maybe 10 years ago. And I wanted to remind you of it. I call it the Buddy System CMA. So you turn to your colleague and you say, hey, listen, I got 100 people that I would like to sell their house, but I really don't want to call them. And they're going to say, yeah, I also got 100 people that I'd like to call and I'd like to sell the house, but it's been 3, 4, 5 years, I haven't reached out. And so what you're doing, you guys following here, right? What you're doing is you're switching databases. You call mine, I'll call yours. It's not going to be awkward, it's not going to be uncomfortable. Okay? And this is the script I want you to use. Hey Steve, this is Jimmy calling with Curator Realty. I work with my agent, Tom Ferry. Did I catch you at a bad time? Chris Voss line. The reason we're reaching out today is because the market has been changing so much lately that we wanted to update you on the most recent information about your home's value. When's the last time you checked your home's value? Right? We're asking open-ended questions here. Have you made any upgrades recently to the property? And then finally, we're going to have 2 more questions, which is one more thing. And this is a financial advisor question, which is what plans, this is such a great question, what plans do you have about the home that you think Tom should know about? Are they planning renovations? Are they planning to make improvements? Are they planning on potentially putting the house on the market? This is a strategy for those of you who have been avoiding your SOI, switch CRMs, implement the buddy system, start booking some more listing appointments. We're all familiar with this app could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Any guesses when this campaign launched? Around like 1998.
I was about to say 2000.
They've been running this campaign for now 20 plus years, right? 28 years or so. Their market cap, or their market share in the auto insurance industry when they launched this campaign was 2%. Today, it's 14%. Sometimes there are strategies that just work. And in our industry, we have a tendency to always chase that new thing, that next thing. when in fact we have ideas and tactics that have actually helped us get customers. Let me give you an example of one. This is by far the most successful email campaign we've sent this entire year. This has helped our clients and the ecosystem generate hundreds of millions of dollars in listings. It is the Name Your Price campaign. Who here sent this email out? About 25% of the room. This is a play that you can run again. Name your price. Could you finish a sentence for me? If I could sell my house for blank, I would list my house this fall. I can't wait to hear your answer. And this is a pro tip for you. When something works with email, a direct response email works, you should translate it into a postcard. You follow me? If something works with email, you should translate it into a postcard campaign. This is an example of the same one here. The next one I got for you, and this is one that I think Tom Ferry popularized, and that is the magic buyer letter strategy. Does everyone here know what the magic buyer letter strategy is? Handful of people? Okay, so here's what it is. At a high level, you reach out to sellers, letting them know that you have buyers who are interested in their property. What you're looking at right now is my client, Danny Fleming. So Danny Fleming got a $1.6 million listing off of the magic buyer letter strategy. She got the neighbor's house for $1.8 million, and then just recently she just got a $2.1 million listing on that same street from this one campaign. Now this one's a bit long, so I'm gonna move through it fairly quickly. But the idea is you hit them with a relevant hook. In positive news, our real estate team has a number of motivated, serious buyers looking to purchase a home in your neighborhood. They're ready to make an offer as soon as they find the right home. You give them some details about the home that you just sold or information about the market. Welcome, Lisa. And then you highlight the specific needs of the buyers that you're working with. Okay? And you break, and this is the pro tip. She doesn't just include one buyer, she includes multiple buyers as part of this process. So not just one buyer, but multiple buyers. And then she has a no pressure approach, which is all of our clients are flexible in the closing date. We can accommodate your needs. Then she has a compelling offer. If you meet the criteria, we can bring you an offer quickly. And then finally, she provides some value. Even if you don't plan on selling, we can still provide you a home value update on your property. And then gives a call to action. This campaign, 1.6, 1.8, $2.1 million listings off of this one strategy. This is a campaign that just works. Now, I don't want to share this next strategy with you. Well, here's the reason why. You guys are here to learn about AI, right? How AI is going to transform your business. Pantana is up here sharing some incredible tactics and strategy. This is the most boring thing I could possibly cover right now. And I don't want to cover it, but it works. It's email marketing. Email marketing is very boring, but I am compelled to share with you that strategies that actually work. Our clients at Curator have sent over 164,000 emails, engaged with over 250 million people. And we use a very specific formula when we're doing email marketing. I'll break it down for you, which is subject line. We focus on a compelling subject line to engage consumers. We provide an interesting data point about the market or a story that recently came out. We try to get inside the reader's head to understand what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what their emotions are right now. And then finally, we give them a strong call to action. Let me give you an example of an email campaign that we just sent that got the most replies of any email we've ever sent this past year. So Toll Brothers CEO was on CNBC a couple weeks ago, and I was listening to it, and he shared a stat. He said, existing home sales are down, but new construction sales are actually up. Historically, new construction sales are about 10 to 15% of the market. The Toll Brothers CEO says, hey, right now, the actual new construction sales are about 30 to 35%. That's what I call an interesting data point that I would want you to share with your SOI and your database. So what we did is we write an email that actually highlights this exact stat. Subject line, is it time to consider a new construction home? There's no easy way to slice it. We're in a home inventory crunch. According to RDC, 45,000 fewer homes were available to buy than a typical day in July. And then we provide interesting information about what we just heard on the market.
Good morning.
In fact, 35% of homes are now new construction sales. Historically, that's up 10 to 15%. And in a really good email marketing campaign, an email marketing campaign that when you send it, gets people to reply, gets people to raise their hand, allows you to have more conversations, book more appointments, has an easy to answer question. And so we just included the A, B, C, D. Hit reply and tell us. This is a campaign that just works. Here's another one for you. Summer plans. This could be summer plans, it could be fall plans, it could be winter plans, it could be spring plans. Now that we're halfway through the year, now that we're 2/3 of the way through the year, now that the year's just starting, we just want to touch base with you as we approach the insert season. What's most important to you? Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. We can't wait to hear your answer. These are email marketing campaigns that start conversations, get you appointments, and put you in a position where you can start actually booking more listing appointments. Some of the best news that has come out in the last 12 months in our industry that no one's talking about is a recent survey Zillow conducted. Maybe a few of you in the room have actually read this survey. In this market that we just came out of and the market that we're in right now, so much of people's behavior is driven by consumer sentiment. When everybody thinks everyone's buying a home, then everyone starts trying to buy a home. When nobody thinks anyone's selling, then everyone feels like they probably shouldn't sell right now, they probably should wait. Zillow did a survey recently and they found that 1 in nearly 4 consumers are planning on selling their home in the next 3 years. Which is fantastic news that you should be putting in front of people who are waiting for this information. And so an email that you can send is nearly 1 in 4 homeowners are planning on selling in the next 3 years. Finally, some encouraging news. The inventory price has been dominated by the real estate market in the last 24 months without any immediate solution in sight. But that's going to be changing. The main reason why people are selling is they're looking to capitalize on their equity growth and they're looking to upgrade their property. And then P.S., if you're among the 23% of people who are contemplating selling, the initial step is to request a home value report for your property. Respond to this email, no obligation. Email marketing is something that you start implementing on a weekly basis. 2 or 3 emails to your database, 1 email a month to your SOI. All of a sudden, you're going to have more conversations, book more appointments, and start going on more listings. So up until this point, we're about halfway through here. We've talked about the one-to-one market update, the 3% text, the referral script, using the ZMA. We talked about using the Godfather strategy. We talked about using email marketing. These are all tactics designed to get you in front of more people that you already have in your database. Let's talk about lead generation next. So my company has been generating tens of millions of leads a year for our clients for the last decade. And whereas our customers have closed a lot of leads, the feedback that we would get is, hey, there's no phone number, I can't call them. Or I called them and they didn't respond. Or they would say, you know, hey, the leads are shit. We're spending all this money for leads, but the leads are shit. I got so sick of hearing this that I said, the hell with it. We'll call the leads. So we did. And it turns out the leads are shit. Okay. Okay. Right? Hold your applause. Okay? Hold your applause. I'm still gonna sell these. And the sad part, this one costs like 23 bucks. So what we've done, and what I'm gonna coach you on today, is I went out and I built a world-class ISA division. And I hired 9 ISAs. They have this year set 3,500 appointments for our customers.